life is. Thank you very much. What my life is doing, I want it to be otherwise. Well, what we can deeply understand is that the constriction, the original grip, uh, grip has us because we have already committed that violation against ourselves. Yes, it's true. So even though you're going, I wasn't able to catch that many of those, remember what I asked of you last time, which is, can you see where you are making complaint? Yes. Yes, you can. It doesn't feel very good, does it? No. Why not? How come? Later, longer, shorter, taller, hotter, cooler, more, less, bigger, small, right? Do we not notice if we're really paying attention? And that's why we practice, by the way, don't we? We practice to be in a little bit of stillness and a little bit of silence on purpose so we can see the contracting nature of it. But that's not all. And the one that can hold it, bigger, spacious, vast. It's right here. I can see this. The minute I can see it, I now have agency. I now have choice. I now have options. Sharon uses words like creativity. I now have, right? I'm not just trapped in the only thing I can do is suffer. She's really saying, in that word, beautiful word she used, Mitzrayim, the freedom, the journey, the vastness now becomes available the minute. It's really amazing to me still. The minute I become mindful, the minute I can feel the contraction in the body, what can I know? The mind has gripped something. Something what? The thing I want or the thing I don't want? The thing I prefer, my favorite flavor, this relationship that I think without it, I cannot be okay. And it's never true. It doesn't mean it's not painful or sad, right? That's just a part of this being human. I didn't really mean just. It's the big part of this being human. And we often, don't we all, believe something must be wrong if I'm feeling this, when in fact, no, not at all. It was the point all along, to recognize our suffering and to feel for ourselves. And nobody likes the mission, do we? Nobody likes the mission. Like, no, not that one. And then we have the crazy. And that's the other part of this chapter. We'll look at it in a minute. She doesn't call it crazy. That's me. She calls it assumptions. Everybody remember this? She calls it core belief thoughts, limiting believed thoughts, assumptions about oneself, assumptions about life. She uses examples, doesn't she, of the Brahmin caste culture of a woman who believed she had to save everyone in order to be worthy of her title, of others, right? And don't we do this as well? The core belief thoughts that we bring about how we should be, we are then taking and projecting onto life, onto others. And then we are, as I recognize in myself, perpetually disappointed. The demands that I place on myself and then on others is staggering. And our recognizing that is an essential part of the path. And so she says the dot, right? Like, forget about the whole path, because then we get into this linear idea, this dot moment. Can I just be here now? Can I just feel it here now? Can I just recognize? And so remember in Pema's book, we're going to practice this today, how we took the words and we dropped beneath. Well, we're now going to take the sensation and go up. What is the core belief thought? We're going to work from down up. Get this idea? Not if anybody gets this, right? We took the words, we didn't want to get trapped up there, right? So Pema says, don't worry about the words right now, let's get under. feeling that contractedness, constriction that Sharon's talking about. Well, this time we're actually going to feel into the sensation and then let the bubble appear. That is, what is the core believed thought that's causing my suffering? Well, one of them on Saturday, Robin was so wonderful by saying, my mind just kept having thoughts. And I said something like, what was the problem? What's the problem? Well, I don't want that. I believe that in meditation, I should not have thoughts, or I should be able to drop beneath the thoughts, or I should get rid of the thoughts, or they should stop, or right. Don't we? We've all done this, right? So anybody who's not getting this, you're not telling the truth. The truth is we all came to these practices hoping that somehow peace would be there somewhere else, right? Over there. No. What do I have to do? Oh, this is that unbinding, unknotting. Think about the words the Buddha himself used. Unknotting. Think about, wow, right? Unbinding ourselves from what? From the perpetually demanding, craving thoughts that say, I should be different, life should be different. We all should be different. And so then we never greet ourselves, the other, or the present moment. Could we? We have the veil of demand, don't we, of preference right there in front of us, keeping us some distance from the beautiful reality of our lives. And yes, those conditions of our life include things like loss, impermanence, uncertainty, don't they? And we go, no, I'm not dropping in on that. Demands are easier. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And they're guaranteed to cause your suffering. Do we get what I'm saying here? Yeah. Well, the work is then every moment, isn't it? It's, can I see can I feel the contractedness, the grip? Chogyam said, Pema, right? Also called, the Tibetans call it Shenpa, the Shenpa grip. And Chogyam, by the way, to add to Sharon's beautiful teachings on this, Chogyam said, it is never to be lost. It is never to be gotten rid of. The reality of this human life, this is a part of how we know we're alive and human, is that there is that reality, that tenor, that slight contractedness in us because of the what? The vulnerability of being alive. And who gets out of that? What neighborhood do you have to move to? What car do you have to buy? What partner, what job would you need to get out of that? And we already know the truth, don't we? There is no partner, there is no house, there is no job that gets us out of the truth of that vulnerability, that humanness. And so then what? We train to be with. And that's what we're going to do right now. Train to be with the truth of this being human. Yes, thank you, Allie. I was hoping somebody would see this. Allie is pointing to the beautiful Tara behind me, which was a gift from Allie. And I love it. I've loved it for years. We probably looked at that for at least 10 plus years, and now it's right there. Beautiful green Tara. And thank you so much. It is. And who could predict, right? Who could predict the gift that we're being gifted every day? We cannot expect them, demand them, hope, and even hope we understand is actually going to cause our suffering. And then there they are. They just appear when we least expect them. All right, we're going to practice and then look at the rest of chapter 1. Any questions or comments before we begin? Anything that feels confusing or not consistent with your reality? Anything that I said, go, no, doesn't work like that for me. The more I crave, the more I want, the happier I get. Well, then we have to have a conversation because I want to know how you're pulling that off. It isn't the way, is it? All right, so let's prepare to sit. Remember, we're going to work a little differently now. Pema used the dropping beneath. So we're actually going to settle into the body first, awaken to the body as it is, and then we're going to move up into what core belief thoughts? What's the craving? What's the wanting something else? What's the preferencing? These are the what is it happening right now? That is also a quality of mind, by the way. A lot of people say this to me. You may notice it in this practice. I didn't have a thought. Yes, you did. You didn't catch the thought. And that's okay too. We just know it's so subtext, it's under the radar. I didn't get that one. The body is still giving me the information I need. Then we simply rest in the body once again and we'll invite the question. What is this quality of mind contributing to this suffering? Okay. So finding a somewhat alert. For those of you who are still in bed, don't worry about that if you're not fully upright, but see if you can't establish an uprightness of mind. And then we turn the attention towards the sense of the body. This posture always beginning in what is most tangible. Well, here's this body sitting here, and we're just going to drop in to the felt sense of the feet. You can even move your feet around a little, like there they are. And then see if you can't bring the attention along with the breath down into the feet. And rest the attention there for a few breaths. This is a grounding, anchoring, stabilizing practice, even when you don't have a whole half hour. Just drop there into the feet. Let the breath fully evacuate the lungs, the abdomen. Soften the body. And then with an in-breath, we're going to move up beyond the feet into the seat, just traveling up the legs into the area of the seat there. And it's here that I'd like us to take one nice deep in-breath together. So gathering the attention, breathing in deeply, holding it at the top, softening the body, and then breathing out back into the seat. All the breath. Let's do it again. Breathing in when you're ready. Feel the weightedness. Letting the upper body simply melt into the seat. And then letting it happen in little micro moments with each breath. Releasing, unbinding with each out breath. And so we have established the base, the possibility for release, for rest, for letting go, for stability, groundedness. Let's continue for a moment just to release into that space. I like to move beyond the body, see if that can or cannot work for you. I like to grow those roots beyond the feet, beyond the seat, beyond the body, deep into the earth. This allows me personally, and may be an offering to you, to remember that I'm being held always, that it is not just me in this body. Breathing out. And then with the next in breath, we're just going to move up the spine, just feeling the wakefulness, the inner dignity, this being alive, being human, being in connection. Wakeful, attentive, alert, present. And see if you can't feel that sense rather than think about the words. Traveling up the spine, feeling its flexibility and its strength. And then breathing up the body. With the next out breath, we're going to breathe down the front of the body, just allowing ourselves to feel into that humanness, that softened front. Our vulnerable, tender reality. And moving down slowly, inviting the truth of that softening right there in the very forehead, the eyes, the jaw. The mouth. Breathing down into the throat. Chest. Heart. Diaphragm. Belly and the abdomen. And then resting in this softened breathscape. And as we're resting, we call to mind our essential aspirations to be free from suffering, to cause least harm, to contribute, to be of benefit. And to do so each breath, just one breath at a time. And whenever the mind moves somewhere else, remembering that thinking is a part of our human experience. We don't condemn it, we don't judge, we have to be watchful of this tendency to think that this practice is about not thinking. We just see what's happening and then decide. Is that random thought something I can simply allow to dissipate, dissolve? I don't need to do a thing. Am I caught up a little bit? It's useful to unhook on purpose and come back into the breath experience, into the body. All mindfulness practice. This is the moment of awakening. This just sitting, being, breathing. And the beauty of this practice is there's no way to get it wrong, actually. We're just dropping into the experience of the breath, knowing the breath. And then it's hot or cold, short or long. It's gripped, it's released. However it is, however we are, we simply greet that experience one breath at a time. There's no struggle, there's no resistance, there's no other way to be. And then, whatever the nature of the body, tight or hot, cold or contracted, open, loose, receptive, light, however it is, as you are greeting experience arising, that feeling felt sense, just see if you can abide, bringing some ease, some spaciousness, some warmth and room to whatever is here. I'm noticing that once again that I have a little top protector on the heart space and it contracts often as I begin the meditation. I'm not trying to get rid of the contraction. I'm not judging. I'm not making up a story. There's no interpretation. I'm just seeing if I can be with, breathe with, open to whatever is there. We call that turning towards. The direct experience itself as best we can without the storyline. Being watchful of these mental habits for catastrophizing, for wanting to get more of, to get rid of. And we're not really attending to the thoughts yet. We're just seeing if we can't stay with some consistency, some continuity, just breath by breath. With each sensation that you make contact with, by the way, there is an automatically arising appraisal, a liking or not liking, a felt sense of pleasant or unpleasant arising. You may or may not catch that, but just recognize that actually we make contact, it's experienced, and immediately there is an assessment and appraisal. Just see if you can't catch that sense, that tight, hot, uh, contracted sheltering of my heart. I don't like it. Um, I often, in early practice, would try to get rid of it. Not useful. I even had a storyline that went with that about how deficient or cold hearted I may be. We're just staying in the experience, letting it be. Experiences you like or you don't like. Touching in at least slightly to each one. You'll notice the reality of sensations of the breath changing with each breath. Nothing permanent, nothing mine, nothing fixed, nothing reliable. The ever changing flow of the breath. Just this. You may be relaxed or restless. You may be feeling successful or failed. You may be wanting, liking, not wanting, and not liking. And no matter the thoughts of the mind, we're going to stay as best we can in the direct experience of the breath. You may notice that the sensations have subdued or have become more um, um, vivacious. You may like them or not. The next time you can feel something that feels direct contact, a tightness or an ease, see if you can't then begin to invite that inquiry from concentration to inquiry. What is this? We're not trying to answer that question with a sentence or words. We're opening more closely. We're moving in. We're getting more intimate with the experience, whatever it is. We bring not only a curiosity with that inquiry, we bring an essential kindness, a non judgmental, friendly, warm, and spacious awareness. And if you notice that things have become neutral, we just rest there for several breaths, bringing that mindfulness, that caring attention. And then opening the field just a little bit larger, seeing if we can notice any other corresponding sensations. I notice the whole front of the body is softened for me as an example. And yet I just felt a nice little poke in the back left. I'm not making a story about it. Oh, this is interesting. And I'm just opening the lens to include it. Creating a breath space, creating a quality of open heart mind to greet whatever is arising, and continuing to invite the inquiry, contracted or expanded. Preferred or not. What is this? Seeing if I can let go of the breath with each out breath and bringing those fresh eyes, that perspective, like waking up to just this. I'm noticing things have neutralized quite a bit in my body, and I'm a little bit suspicious, and I'm noticing that. And I'm just recognizing, I wonder what this is. I'm bringing curiosity without suspicion because I started with, I don't know, this seems a little weird to me. And I'm recognizing that that won't allow whatever is here. Can I just be open to what is arising? This neutral felt sense. Bringing the same curiosity, the same care. feeling things we like, feeling things we don't like, and sometimes feeling things that feel fairly neutral, like this. This is a very easy opportunity frequently to check out, to go off into thinking, to space out. And we want to see if we can stay curious, present, attentive. What does it feel like to rest in a neutral space? What does it feel like to rest in a pleasant space? Can I be with my experience right here in the breathscape, even when it is unpleasant or restless, contracted, achy? And we become more curious, more interested, and more caring. In a neutral state, as an example, there will likely be not too many thoughts arising. They might be random. What's the sound going on outside? Is the dog okay? And there's nothing to do with those, by the way. We just let those random thoughts come and go. If you have a pleasant thought, see if you can notice that slight grip, that wanting to keep, that wanting to hold on to that experience. And we will notice a similar experience with a restless or lethargic or not liked state. There will be a subtle, but it will be available. Can't I change this? Isn't there something I can do? Can't I turn it into pleasant or at least a neutral? And you may begin to notice some of that. The ideas, impulses for movement, for example, can begin here. Like maybe if I shift, this will get better. If I'd only slept more, this could have worked out. We start cultivating these preferred conditions and see if you could notice that. That's the gripping mind looking for something more pleasant, preferred, and or judging the unpleasant. You're restless, everybody else is at least neutral. Nope, I didn't say that. And see if you can begin to notice that quality of mind, the rejecting mind, the preferring mind, the mind that wants distraction or entertainment. the doubting mind, the one going, what am I even doing here? This is crazy. How does this help? The failed mind, the one that believes you just don't have it, that there's no point to this, that there's just suffering. And remember, without judgment, just like those sensations, we're not judging the thoughts. We're seeing if we can understand our vulnerability, our movement away from as those thoughts arise. We can get caught in them and actually abandon the body. But we come back again and again, no matter what the thought, back into the body and open again, back to the breath. And based on the quality of your own concentration, and by the way, you have something to do with that and not everything. So you may notice, oh, well, I'm just feeling a nice balance with the breath. That may be happening, or you may notice restlessness or a jangle in the body or slight efforting in the breath. And remember, no experience, a better or worse than another. Can we simply be open, receptive, and inquiring? What is this? And from the stability of mind, then from the inquiry, we can actually, an essential part of our practice is to offer a response. And that's happening in all kinds of micro ways, just as you rest here, which is, oh, I can release that. I don't have to tighten up there. Oh, I can let go of that thought. That's not going to serve me now. These are mini offerings, offering our balance, our stability, our ease, our calm. And from the what is this inquiry, we can then naturally invite a what is needed inquiry. That's happening again fairly automatically with those shifts, with that release or with that redirection of mind. Those are all very caring um, gestures. And there's a critical training here for non reactivity, non condemning, non critical, or rather than going off into those storylines or those assumptions about our failure or about the failure of the practice, the failure of day or you, we can simply open. And you will begin to notice patterns. So if you're have a tendency for judgment or condemning, you're probably there. If you have a habit for pride or arrogance or deciding you're better than everyone else, you're probably there. It doesn't matter, they're both suffering. Noticing preferences, noticing the things we like, and noticing the things we don't. These preferences are tied very intimately to core belief thoughts. And we often don't recognize them, but I'll give you just another example. There was a little machinery sound outside our meditation space here. And I did have the thought, oh, that noise is going to be disruptive. Now, I didn't have it quite like that. I just noticed a slight contractiveness when I heard it. Not this. And in the very recognizing, I could smile and let go of the belief thought and just come back to the breath. There is a core belief thought attached. It would be something like it needs to be quiet when meditating. I certainly prefer that. And then the reactivity when it isn't, however subtle. Just coming back to the breath now, resting in the sensations, the inquiry, we're going to let go of that. Just soaking in the good. Our commitment to seeing clearly, our commitment to being present, our commitment to offering care, kindness. May we all have happiness. May we all be free from distress. May we recognize our true nature and our commitment to clear seeing, to open-heartedness, to loving presence. And may we rest and dwell within that goodness, within that stability, within our own true nature. Free from affliction. And rather than ring the bell, right now I have a little man in my lap. He's laying on my hands. So rather than do what we might typically do, just opening beyond the heart space, the breath space, to feel into the whole body. And inviting a little more breath as we open to include the whole body breathing. And then as you're feeling in, just feel into what might need opening, stretching, movement. Little man just took his big breath, so I guess we're all good. There he is, meditating. So, reports on that practice, questions about that practice. It's not a different practice, right? Just a little more detail to the instruction. Checking in on the practice. What came up for you? What did you notice? Could anyone see the preferencing mind?
It was very relaxing.
Okay. So
Able
concentration.
to focus.
Yeah, able to stay in contact with the breath.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Any ideas about what made that possible today?
I think I got up early and went for a nice walk out in my new neighborhood and just sat down with my dog and just, I don't know, it's just easy to listen to your voice and focus on that and my breathing and yeah. I don't know.
So the mind today, maybe from the movement, maybe not, you don't know, but
very, very calm mind today.
Greeting whatever's here with the calm mind, which can happen if we move a little. Sometimes
once in a blue moon.
Sometimes not, even when we move a little
Exactly.
or a lot. Right. Dennis says, for me, it was like rattling around in a room. So the mind might have been a little active. There might have been noticing the rattling may have actually been some kind of mind state, right? Kind of going from thing to thing, being caught for moments in things. And Dennis, then did you notice a preferencing for that, liking that or not liking that?
Yeah, I did, because it's like I bounced from one thing to another. And
Yeah.
it's like oh yeah, I like that, don't like that. Oh, I need that. No, I don't need that.
Yeah.
And my son came up and other things came up, and it was like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, noticing that mind that's seeking, possibly seeking relief sometimes, or seeking peace. We can bounce around looking for a place to land and not really finding it because that mind's not really there. So what about this? What about that? Maybe over here, maybe over there. And also being pulled by those thoughts, mind getting pulled off of the breath into this or that or the other thing or other thoughts, or what about today? And again, just noticing any assumptions or preferences that we have about that, like this mind is the wrong mind, or I shouldn't have this mind, or I don't like this one, or if I was really doing it right, I'd not be doing that wandering. None of this is accurate. These are all old thoughts about preferencing also there. If I was getting it right, it would be comfortable, I'd be relaxed, things would be easier. Remember, we happen to know that this is not the truth of our human existence, that things are not always pleasant, even when we're getting them right. Maybe particularly when we're getting them right, we really don't like that, do we? And then with all the commitment to the practice, the mind like this, and then going, something's wrong. Is it me? Is it her? Is it the practice? Is it the teaching? Maybe it's the room. Maybe it's the right. We can spend a lot of time now looking for the cause for our distress. There's only one. Right, says the slogan. There's only, Lojong slogan says there's only one cause. There's not 50. It wasn't the machinery outside. It wasn't the dog in my lap. It wasn't mind in its whatever, restlessness or sloth, right? These things happen too. Is it the problem? Not at all. What's the problem? The wanting, not wanting nature of mind. Not this one, not this time, not the, right? Otherwise, noticing mind wandering. There we are, rattling mind. Oh, over here and then over there and then back here and then, well, that wasn't the one I wanted. I wanted that quiet mind. I wanted the mind. I wanted that heart that was just open and radiant and beaming. That's not the one I got. I got the one with the cover on the top. By the way, the cover is somewhat heavy. It's some kind of big metal in my mind's eye. And can I greet that? And the answer is yes. When I greet that, open-hearted, with just clear seeing, the truth is it doesn't feel the same, even though the pot's got the cover on it. And again, not to be avoided, not to be clung to as something about me. This is the teaching. Can we greet it with openness, without prejudice is some of the words, without prejudice. The prejudice is what? The wanting, not wanting. Curiosity helps, Libby said. What is this? Just with some interest. Oh, heavy pot lid happening. What about that? Can I just be with that rather than fall into the autopiloted preference and reactivity? We know all preference is a reaction. All preference, wanting and not wanting, is actually a reaction. It's me trying to navigate and cultivate something else in life. Siobhan says, there were some interesting moments of contraction, expansion, relaxed, tense, open, closed, comfortable, uncomfortable, pleasant, unpleasant. Exactly. That's called a whole life existing together. And that was interesting. That's right. They're not separated, are they? Kind of like not grasping or trying to get rid of any of it. Exactly correct. However, there were plenty of moments of bodily discomfort, sure. And I realized that changing physical logistics for this class will be helpful, yes, and supportive in regards to multiple torn knee cartilage issue. Yes, that brings wisdom. Yes, with curiosity, without the storyline, in an open, receptive, non-prejudiced, non-biased, non-reactive state of mind, we will hear, I love this, always see clearly. And then we can respond. Oh, I'm going to put a thing under my knee. Oh, I'm not going to ring this bell because I'd have to disrupt the dog. It's not worth it to me. Right? Okay. Can I just see clearly where we really are and respond rather than the habit of ringing the bell? That's just small example. Can I really be fully here with what's here and respond, which means non-bias, non-prejudice, non-reactivity, no struggle. I cannot get rid of the evidence, right? As if I've just committed a murder. Clean it up, get quick, throw bleach on it, hide it. It won't help you, will it? It will certainly not help you know how you really are or how the world really is or how then to best respond to it. Because those states, all constriction is fear. Right? All constriction. Now, can the mind be wandering without fear? Yes. Wandering mind, right? The trying to get it to be something else will usually create some distress for us. So then noticing mind here, mind here, mind here, mind here. Really, no problem so far. Mind doing what mind is doing, right? It isn't the noticing mind that's the problem. It is the preferencing one, right? And yes, we bring a lot of preferences, don't we, to mind and body. I want my neck to be looser. I want my knee to be right this way. I want my right belly not to grumble. I want my nose not to run. I want my right. And really, what are we saying? I want to live forever without any unpleasant experience at all. And I'm going to demand that of myself and of life. There's the real storyline, right? I'm going to demand that of myself and of life. Now, there's a lot of suffering. Greg says, the fear is like the heavy metal cap sitting on the heart. That's my experience as well. That is exactly my experience. That heaviness is some kind of protection. But protection from what? Well, some kind of distress or fear is there. Like once I drop into that, once I know the reality of fear in my own mind body, then what? Oh, right? I don't like fear that much, by the way. I don't like feeling it either, by the way. Can I take ownership of that and just, right, recognize my own assumptions and preferences? In my family lineage, fear was a stupid thing. You just didn't do it. Well, that eliminated about half of life right there. Now what? Well, now you have to die with your boots on. That's what. And that's not too easy either. Right? So can I open to that with some kind of what then? Not just curiosity, but some kind of true compassion for myself and all those who don't get the privilege of being able to be fearful. And look at the big teaching right there with one little heavy pot sensation moment. Can I recognize? Yep. Good for you, Dennis. My guess is there's not going to be one moment where we have to keep inviting, where we have to keep allowing, where we have to keep opening, where we have to keep showing up, not with ourselves and not with our children, right? It's continuous. And yes, I would say the door will be slammed often and many times, and the work is to keep opening. And then we keep opening, and then we keep opening. But without this training, we don't have the stamina for that, do we? We collapse in the first door slam. And that's not the practice. Can I, with an open heart, knock again? Can I show up again? Can I write the letter again? Can I love him like this, right here, even when the door is slammed? And if we can't do it for ourselves, the answer is no. If I can't recognize the lid on my own heart and show up for me again, how am I going to do that for one of my children? Impossible. Impossible. So good for you. We keep showing up just like that. And then when we can't show up for another because they're slamming the door, can we show up for ourselves? Right. Then we turn the heart wherever it can shine. Okay, so then I'll hold myself in that. Thank you. Thank you all for that share. Let's go to the chapter. I'm going to see if I can't find that share screen so we can host disabled participant screen sharing. Yep. Carrie may have left that. Okay, let's see here. Let's see how I'm going to do this. There's got to be a way. I think what I have to do is turn me back into a host. So hang on, folks. Let me see if I can get this right. There's probably some way. Because I want to look at the book with us. No, that didn't happen. Let me keep looking for another minute. I think maybe I'm just going to have to, unfortunately, try it one more time. I can't do it. Where's everyone? Let's see if I can find a way to do it here. Greg, you're host. Can you make me host?
I'm host, huh? Okay.
Carrie left that to you. And you know, I love when you're host. I just can't share my screen.
I can't find myself here.
I think if you go over to everyone.
Oh, there we are. Okay. I'm looking. No, wait a minute. There I am. Okay.
See if
Now
you can see me. I don't see my name here.
I see your name.
Okay.
Yeah. And
if you might be able to click on that.
click on you.
On my
Okay.
name, and then I might say share host or something like that.
Make host.
Make host.
Okay. Change host. There you go.
All right. Let's see if that helped. Yes, it did. Okay.
Yay.
Yeah. You know, Greg and I are never going to be expert at this. I just want you to know we do not come wrong generation. You're talking to the wrong committee for being brilliant with technology, but we did it.
But we did it.
Yeah. So never close down the ideas that you can't keep learning. And so here we are. Mine says page 19. I just want to look over expansiveness for a few more minutes. We're going to get through this to get to chapter 2. So here's what Sharon says about expansiveness. Expansiveness helps broaden our perspective rather than just liking and not liking. That's that autopiloted version. It broadens the perspective so we can think more beyond that fight flight, right? Into a more open, receptive, curious, clear-seeing mind, right? That's what we practiced. You could see that, can't you? in expansiveness, we can hold our contractedness without falling into the default of getting rid of or grabbing onto. We can recognize the very wandering mind. Isn't it amazing? Without going into judgments, condemnation, rejection, or clinging. That's what she's really saying. Expansiveness invites experimentation and imagination. Well, now we have lots of options. We're more willing to pour ourselves fully into life's pursuits. I would not have said that. I would have said pour ourselves more fully into what? The present moment. Just that's enough. Just being here with this. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, the heavy pot feeling. Oh, I'd rather that not be here. Oh, there's the sound I didn't prefer. Oh, funny how I have all these preferences about sound. Now I'm actually creating a container, a mindfulness container for holding my experience with kindness, with compassion, with genuine care, curiosity, and interest. I'm no longer just stuck in the slam that down, get rid of that, cling to this, which is lizard brain at its worst, right? It leaves room for our fundamentally loving hearts. She says it right there, doesn't she? To uncoil and lead us onward to what? The next moment. That's it. Just the very next one with receptivity, openness, curiosity, and a willingness to greet whatever is there. I'm going to go on to page 20 here, I think, maybe still 19. Moment to moment presence, which usually offers wonder, awe, and appreciation, feels like an expansive antidote. Moment to moment presence, I'm going to say, greeted, will lead to wonder, awe, and appreciation. However, moment to moment experience greeted with judgment, condemnation, criticism, the storyline, the preferencing, the bias, the lizard brain is certain to lead to suffering. Even with moment to moment presence. I can drop in on my pain. Doesn't mean I'm going to open to it. Does it? We have to cultivate that quality of heart mind in order to be with, bear witness, be present. She reports this astronaut, Mae Jemison, who said, once I got the view of the whole of the earth, I realized I belonged to it all. That I was in fact a part of the universe, not just a part of Indiana, not just a part of the small town, not just a part of my tribe, but that I was a part of this whole gigantic and vast thing. And once I did that, there is no suffering there because I am forever now in connection and belonging. Aren't we? We know this. We know this in nature. Don't we? We get into nature and go, wait, I am that tree. I am this moist ground. We did that at Quest Haven during our retreat. We're like, oh my gosh, this abundance is that which I am also a part. This amazing abundance. John Kabat-Zinn, who cultivated our mindfulness-based stress reduction class, does the 9-dot exercise. Most of us have done that 9-dot exercise. And what did we all notice? Hard to see beyond the perceived limited frame of just the square. It's simply 9 dots. There's infinite space everywhere. But we didn't see that. We saw the square of the 9 dots. And consequently, we're stuck. We got stuck in the operation, right? Connecting all the, there's no way to connect those dots within that square. That's not possible. You have to see beyond into wider, more open space. And Sharon took that class many, many years ago, by the way. And here's what she said. Every one of us had presumed that to succeed, we had to stay within the circumscribed area formed by the 9 dots. John had never said that we were limited to that space, but all of us concluded that was only the area because that's all they could see. That we could only move within it, consequently limiting our true nature, limiting the solution, really. How much room do we have? The responsibility of every being is to grow into its own true nature, not to conform. Not to conform. I think that's to any ideal, but to be really who we most can be, most alive, most present, most lovely. And we all come with that conforming mind, by the way. We have ideas about being male and female, don't we? We have ideas about being a certain age. We have ideas about based on race, based on religion, based on preferences, based on family value. My family value that I shared with you, which is there is no fear. My father was a war hero, so you are fearless and you get awarded for that fearlessness. And we learned that silently, even though as he aged, what did he say? I was the most scared guy in the platoon. And that was also true. Can't it be? I was the most fearful. I just put it into action. Right? And so we have to be watchful of what we believe that we have to reject in ourselves, including our own fear. And in fact, when we do so, we're going to cause harm to ourselves and to others. Aggression is a common callous over fear, isn't it? Aggression. Yeah, judgment, common. We seal it up with those very believed thoughts. She goes on to describe Dharma and some ideas about that. I didn't find that all that interesting. She's talking about the Buddha's vision of action and its consequence. This is actually very important because it was not the action itself that generates merit. Not the action itself. No. But what? The heart that employed it. The heart mind that employed it. So do not mistake giving money, for example, alone as a meritorious act. Why? Well, sometimes I gave money so that we looked over there at my generosity, not over here at how I got it. Right? We have to be watchful of these tendencies to mistake the act itself rather than the heart, that mind that generated it. And be careful. We do this all, don't we? Which is, how did that person, why can't I be lucky like them? Why can't I be rich? I hear this from younger generation, why, how come I want to be famous? I want to be, right? This is that selfie stick disease. What about that? I have to be recognized in order to be okay. No, there is no status. And in fact, the Buddha himself it is the person of no status who is the happiest. Don't have to be anything for anybody, and be watchful. And she gives examples of the Brahmin culture and how status assigns privilege. Well, we know all about this, don't we? And how that privilege can be mistaken as a birthright, right? As a birthright, that because you're born white, well, you get a certain privilege. Because you're born male, you get a certain other kind of privilege. Because you're born rich or smart or beautiful or whatever, that entitles us. And we all fall in to a little bit of that cultural context. We have to watch that, don't we? We're waking up a little bit to that. It's pretty uncomfortable, isn't it? To go, gosh, yeah, what was I thinking that whole time? That in some way, all those people of color throughout all that time were struggling with us just tra-la-lying along. And we did. Going, bad situation. Forgetting that we contributed to its cause. And now having to reconcile, right? Now we're having to all go, whoops, wait a minute. How do we live in recognition that we have our own caste system and that it's well in place, and recognizing that. The Buddha was declaring that only status, this is that idea that we assign because you're that, you get it, or because I'm this, I get it. And then that quote, a true Brahmin is one who is gentle, who is wise and caring. And that is the only status that matters. There is no other. It is fascinating and poignant to see how much each of these elements, that assumption making, that cultural context, that family rules and rituals determine how we think. And of course, we know it's true. She goes on to say there's a lot of room, that none of us are actually locked up in these assumptions, but we have to recognize them in order to begin to deconstruct them. That our conditioning is a part of who we are, how we believe, what we think should be happening. And if we don't wake up to that, that we're going to stay small-minded, lost, stuck in view, and very myopic and limited. And isn't it true? Of course it's true. None of this is determined in the external conditions of who we are. It is all held in the universal potential of who we might become. That means we're larger than any of our believed thoughts. That the limited belief thoughts keep us separate. Yep. Keep us disconnected. Yep. Keep us lonely. Yep. Isn't it true? Every single one of them. Even when we think it's the one elevating us, it actually isn't doing that at all. It's separating us. That's why all those people in Rancho Santa Fe have those big gates. Yep, a lot of big gates. Why? Scared now. Uh-oh, maybe somebody's going to want to take all that I have because I have a lot. What about that? And then we get fearful. How do I keep it? How do I, right? And then I get into the mine. It's mine. And I've got to, well, all those oranges fall on the ground. We don't just receive our story, we construct it and rediscover it, and then we tack it down. We tack it down. Most of us have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And of course, it begins with the very basics and then goes all the way up to self-actualization. I wasn't not sure that that's necessary for understanding of this. I think it's helpful to know that without the meeting of basic needs, it's fairly difficult to climb the ladder to so that people who are just worried about eating today are probably not sitting in 45-minute meditation in this culture, that they're struggling in some way, and that we understand something about that it's a luxury in some way. And then how do we equalize and create potential for that for us all, right? But that we all have these essential needs, no matter our status, no matter our gender, no matter our class. What choices will lead me to greater integration and wholeness? That's the question for the week. So this week, I think that was mostly what I saw that was valuable. This week, I want us to look at what we think we need to be okay. Okay, what do we need? What do we think we need to be okay? I need 3 meals. I need people to be accepting. I need people to understand something about me. I need, what is it you think you need in order to be okay? I want you to look at that this week. It's based on your assumptions and your core belief thoughts about you, about life. And I want you to pay attention. It is wholeheartedly untrue. What you think you need in order to be okay is probably mostly not accurate. It has to do with comfort or security or pleasantness, mostly, and it's something we impose on the environment. It's got to be like this. It's got to be. And then sometimes, right, I got to be. But I want you to look at that again. What is it you think you need in order to be okay? All right, we're going to work on that. We're going to continue to drop into moments of constriction versus expansion and invite that question. What's happening? What is this? What is the quality of mind holding this? And see if we can't see how we are constructing our storylines a little bit more. Seeing them is the path to freedom. But once we see them, we can decide to keep them or release them. All right, everyone, it's already a little past 8:30. Thank you so much. We're going to go on to week 2 for real life. If you didn't get your book, let me know and I'll try to send you as best I can that chapter if I can make that happen. Our tendency, this is the last thing I wanted to read, our tendency to cling to stuff of this world pushes us to drag our things, physical possessions, emotional baggage, old assumptions, and habitual reactions along with us. And that will keep us in suffering. That's going to keep us constricted. That was on, it says for me, page 28. Look at that page. That's the one I thought had a lot of juice in it for this week's practice. All right, everyone, thank you so much for being here with me and each other. Thank you for your commitment to this practice, and keep that question. What is it I think I need to be okay? All right, everyone, blessings. May we all contribute and be of benefit through this practice and in our every thought, word, and deed. Good to see you all this morning. Greg will be here Thursday and Saturday. I will be in Vegas visiting my brother, watching him play in the slot tournament. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what we do for love. I will look forward to seeing you all next Tuesday for chapter 2. And Greg, thank you so much once again for being there for us all. I hope to sit with you this Thursday morning at 7.
I had a quick question for Saturday. Are we doing that at 7 or 7:30?
7:30 on Saturday, Zoom only this Saturday.
I saw that, but then I also saw it was like 7. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't chiming in later or earlier or anything like that.
I have no idea where that got written. It was evidently an error.
No, that's okay. Like I said, I just wanted to be sure. So thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you.
7:30 on Saturday, 7 o'clock on Thursday.
Got it.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
checking. Thanks for checking. Be well, everyone.